Power isn't just about diplomacy and deals, it's about force, control, and the raw ability to make things happen. But what happens when a nation leans too hard on military strength and economic pressure? And could the future of power be shifting right under our feet? Today we dive into the world of hard power, where military might, sanctions, and coercion shape global politics. So, let's talk about hard power. Basically, the part of geopolitics where countries stop being polite and start getting very aggressive. Unlike soft power, which is all about persuasion, culture, and winning hearts and minds, hard power is like that one guy in a bar fight who skips the talking and goes straight for the chair smash. It's military force, economic pressure, and the good old-fashioned do what we say or things get ugly. Take military strength, for example. Historically, it's been the go-to move for empires, superpowers, and anyone with an army and an attitude. From ancient conquests to modern invasions, looking at you, Iraq 2003, countries have flexed their military muscles to get what they want. Sometimes, just having a massive army is enough to keep enemies in check, kind of like how a security guard doesn't need to tackle you if you know he could. But war isn't always necessary. Strategic troop movements, military exercises, and hey, look at all these warships we just happened to park near your borders can be just as effective. Then there are economic sanctions, the financial equivalent of locking someone out of their own house. By cutting off trade, freezing assets, or just making life generally miserable for a country's economy, powerful nations can force their rivals into submission without firing a single shot. The US and EU love this tactic. Russia, Iran, and North Korea have all been on the receiving end. But sanctions can backfire too. Sometimes they just make enemies closer, like Russia and China deciding, hey, since the West won't trade with us, let's be besties instead. And let's not forget coercion, the fine art of making threats just scary enough to be taken seriously, but not so terrifying that they start a full-blown war. A perfect example? The US keeping North Korea in check with a mix of military posturing, sanctions, and diplomatic ultimatums. But hard power isn't perfect. It's expensive, messy, and sometimes turns into a never-ending conflict. See Afghanistan, Iraq, and every empire that thought this will be over in no time. Plus, sanctions often hurt regular people more than the leaders in charge, which is kind of like punishing an entire office because the boss screwed up. Looking ahead, hard power is evolving. Cyber warfare, AI, and digital sabotage are now part of the mix. Countries can now attack each other's economies, infrastructure, and even elections without firing a missile, which is both fascinating and, terrifying. At the end of the day, hard power is still a major player in global politics, but it works best when paired with soft power. A country that balances military strength with diplomacy and economic strategy tends to get better results than one that just bulldozes its way through problems. Because let's be real, if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. Now what do you think? Is hard power still the best way to maintain global dominance? Or are we heading toward an era where cyber tactics and economic influence matter more? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, support us by subscribing if you haven't already. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and I'll catch you soon in another video.